All right, we are live. Yeah, so I mean, just like I said, I just moved a bunch of records upstairs. It was probably like 15 boxes. Sweat is pouring off my face.
Oh yeah.
Tell me.
Oh, sorry. Fail. There we go.
Yep. So we are live.
We are live. We are live. What is up, everybody? I was going to let a few people kind of
Sure.
trickle in before I hit the intro. But hey, what's up, AZ? What's up, Easy Now?
Hey,
Mavs in
how's it
7.
going?
Straight out the shoot. Calling it.
Mavs in 7. That's okay. In hockey, we said Dallas Stars in 8. No.
So what's up, Jason? I actually haven't said hey to you yet, man. How's it going, dude?
Doing all right. Just thought I was running late. Wait,
You're all
are we
good.
live? I guess
We
Yes,
are.
we're
not
live.
late.
Nope. You
Well,
hit.
Chance
you-
usually starts at 8:05, so we're kind of recalibrating.
Okay, so yeah, I'm one of these people where it's like I watch the timer, and when the second hits, I'm like, I gotta go live.
Gotcha.
Wyoming Dave. Hey, what's up, Dave? How you doing, man? All right. I'm still trying to figure out. It's like flying the Millennium Falcon for the first time, man. I'm over here like trying to, I got all these knobs to turn and trying to like make sure trying to make sure I don't blow this on Chance's channel. But all right, let me go. I'm gonna throw up the intro. Let's do that, and then we will
Do
jump
it.
in with introductions. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
There is nothing wrong with your turntable. Do not attempt to adjust the audio. We are controlling transmission. For the next few hours, sit quietly, and we will control all that you hear. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to Surface Noise, B-Side Edition.
Yeah, how clever was that?
I like it.
So yes, everyone, do not attempt to adjust your set. We are in complete control tonight. Yes, Chance has given up the keys to the kingdom tonight, and the inmates are basically running the asylum today. So that should be fun. I'm Jason. If you don't recognize me, I'm from the Spins Vinyl channel. I am thrilled to be your host on this very special B-side, inaugural B-side edition of Surface Noise. And the good news is, we still have a very familiar cast of characters this evening. And of course, I'm talking about the vinyl community royalty that you see on your screen right now, whether they want to admit it or not. So the reason I'm here tonight is on Surface Noise, on the Surface Noise off week, is because Chance wanted to make Surface Noise a weekly show. And so he came up with this idea for an A-side, B-side. And I said, oh, sounds fun. So that's why you have me for the foreseeable future hosting every other week on Chance's off weeks. And of course, Chance will still be doing his thing on his regular weeks as well. So I hope to do the show justice. And of course, it helps to have great guests. So without further delay, please allow me to introduce you to this beautiful motley crew that you see before you. Arnaldo, how's it going, man?
Hey guys, how's it going? Hey Jason,
Doing good. Great to see
and
you.
David,
Yep.
and Jason. number
Ronaldo.
two.
Brandon, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Always great to be here with the familiar cast. Always great.
And David Bianco, welcome. Good to see you
Hi.
again.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Deep Thought, Jason Rojas in the house. What's up, baby?
Thanks for having me on for another week. You know, I'll be tame this week. I promise.
This is the week to not be tame. Oh, man. So we got a fun little lineup for you today, tonight. And a few things we want to talk about. One is, and I'll kind of kick it off here at the beginning, but the whole idea of, is that OG? And the difference between an OG and a reissue. When is it appropriate to buy one or the other? It was kind of funny that Chance actually came out and was hanging out in Portland last week. We went to about 5 record stores, and without fail, someone would hold up a record. The first question would be, is that OG? I'd hold up a record. Is that OG? His son would hold up a record. Is that OG? It was like all three of us. That was the first question. So it just got me thinking, like, that's pretty funny. Why is that a thing? And then we're going to talk Black Sabbath, Rhino reissue. Probably going to lean on Mr. Rojas a little bit on that one. I know he's got one. He's done a little shootout for that one. And then we're going to do a game which I hope is fun. It's called Smash or Pass. And so we're going to do that. And when we get to it, I'll explain what that is. And yeah, and then we'll jump into the freestyle. So is that OG? Let me see. Boom. So yeah, like I said, it was kind of funny because without fail, even his son was doing it. Like Chance would hold up a record and his son would be like, is that OG? So it just got me thinking, because it's kind of funny because we talk a lot about reissues and stuff like that. And it's like, what makes you decide that you're going to grab an OG? Is it more of a record store thing? Are you just not interested in reissues at the record store? You're shaking your head, David. What do you think?
Well, OG is probably the most abused term in the VC, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because here's the bottom line. Some people think it's an OG because of the cover, but the record that might be inside of it is not, in fact, an OG. You may actually have a label that you think is like a palm tree Warner Brothers instead of a green, and it depends on when the pressing plant changed labels. So there's a lot of variability, and it always comes down to the dead wax. It always comes down to the dead wax. So don't be fooled by cheap imitation covers. You can be misled. Some covers are worth something more than others in and of themselves, but they don't always match. Have you ever taken a record out and actually had the different album in it? I've had that happen before. So the point to me is original to me means more like first pressing, early pressing before represses. So to me, you got to go to the dead wax all the time.
So when you're at if you're out in the wild, you're at a record store, you find something. Are you checking out the dead wax, and are you on Discogs looking it up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
If that's what I'm looking for, then I want to make sure that, I know where it was birthed, if I can tell the pressing plant, and if I can tell what series it was, A1, B1, whatever it might be, to know whether or not it was an early plate or not.
Wow. There you go. That's awesome. That's going the extra mile. What about you, Jason? First of all, is that whole wall behind you, is that all OG? Okay, I thought so.
No, this is like that's a reissue, right? It never came out. What am I doing? Let's just bring it down. This never came out on vinyl until Record Store Day. So I guess
so. Then it isn't a reissue technically.
It's
a repress on vinyl, right? I think that's the term.
Press on vinyl. There's no
first vinyl pressing, I guess.
First vinyl pressing.
First vinyl pressing. There you go.
Okay.
Let's get our English correct, guys.
Come on, Jason.
I got to do the chance part. I got to do the chance part for the visually impaired because of the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Right. Sorry. So this is the Verve. This is a collection of B-sides that were not. That I think at that time in the early '90s they released on CD, and that was it. That was like the only way you can get it. But this past Record Store Day they put it out on vinyl, but you can only get it from the UK and Europe. So it was not.
It is an OG.
Sure, I guess.
If it's the first pressing of that record, it's an OG.
So I think Jason Spins is right. I think I only have originals, on my wall.
You're an original, Jason. We know that.
Yeah, sure, David. But I mean, I have to say, like this one right here. Let me pull this one. This is that infamous record, the John Mayall and the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton. I believe this originally came out in '66 on the Decca label in the UK, but it's a little bit different. This is actually the '68 repress, okay? And I could only tell by the label, not necessarily the dead wax, because I think the dead wax is the same. It's actually the label that's slightly different. But I mean, in my opinion, when I go to a store, is it reissue or OG? It just depends on what I'm looking for, I think at the point, like if the OG is at 500 Like, should you buy that if you have the money, or should you get the reissue? I think that's the question, right?
So money definitely plays into it. Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. This is a first Canadian press of Hart's Dreamboat Annie. I've been trying to get a Canadian copy, and because it's the best sounding one I've heard actually. So, you got to know what to look for.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So Jason, then when you're out in the wild, are you checking matrices as well?
Not necessarily, unless it's hardcore,
Yeah, yeah.
if it's something like I can't identify the label, so it's like the opposite of what David would do, But I had studied the labels in the '90s, and I don't know, like instead of working on my reading assignments, I was looking at the collector's price guide and be like, the Warner Brothers label here changed. They added the
That explains a
W
lot right there.
at 1975. So that would mean Gord's Gold, according to these numbers, Gord's Gold should be the one where they added the W, and that's the identifier,
Sure.
like, so I mean, the fact that I know this and I'm saying this, I have,
But that's
graduated.
a very special niche kind of thing,
Oh
right?
yes, oh yes.
Yeah. And even those aren't always OGs in the sense that they maybe weren't the first pressing, but an error was made later.
Correct.
That
So like
can
I
happen.
would, so I'm so crazy that I would know that the Reprise tricolor label ended in '68, right? And then they switched to the W7R like at the tail end of '68. So this is how crazy I am. I know this.
Mhm.
That's funny. I mean, when I'm at home in the comfort of my house and I'm on Discogs and I'm out there doing all my due diligence. When I'm in the wild, I'm way less critical. Like if I see something and it's obviously an early pressing and it's something I'm interested in and it's clean, I'm kind of like, yes, I'm going to grab it. But I have been burned because I got a US pressing of something that I got home and looked it up because it did not sound good. And I found out the hard way that even though it was OG, it was not the one to get. so
I
it was
mean,
like,
do you actually look it up at the store, or you're going by, what they've written on the record, if there was any information on it, or?
I usually don't look it up in the store.
Okay.
I might on occasion, but if it's something, at least if I know it's something that is early, then I might grab it. I mean, certain labels, you can at least get the era right on like Zeppelin and Hendrix and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's like, okay, this is a first version. I'm cool with it. Let's try it. It rarely, it might be the first pressing, but I don't go to that extent in the store.
Okay.
What about
Let's
you,
see.
Brandon? Oh, sorry, Jace.
No, I'm just like saying, like, I'm so crazy that in 1974 on the Atlantic, they switched to the 75 Rockefeller address label. So
Yep.
I'm so crazy, I know that. Okay. Sorry, Brandon, go.
That's dedicated. That's not crazy. You're a dedicated man. Yeah, if I'm out in the wild and I mean, yeah, I'll go and start looking at the Matrix and all that type of stuff, but only if that piece being an OG actually matters. Because maybe I already have a copy of something and I would upgrade to an OG if I, with this particular piece. So then I'll dive into the Matrix. But if it's just like an album that I want, I really don't, I probably don't really care that much. Like the number one thing to me is always condition. I don't care, reissue, OG, that type of thing. Condition comes number one. But, I would say after 20 something years of collecting, and this is just kind of for me personally, because I always say that the way that anyone does their collecting, you're doing it the right way if you walk into your room and go, this is awesome. Like if you're saying that about your collection, you're doing it right. So screw whatever anybody else says about what you should have, what you shouldn't have, and blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's kind of like after so many years of collecting and being around albums for so long, there's just this gut feeling that comes over me when I think about an album and I think, I have to have an OG of that. I have to have the reissue of that. I don't care which one I have of that one. I have to have both of this one. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. My collector gut, because we're music lovers and we're also collectors of music stuff. Like both of those entities are kind of existing together. There's just something in my gut that just says, I want an OG of that and I will settle for nothing less. And I can't explain why. I only want a Walmart reissue of that, and I don't care about. I have no idea why that did. It's just so that's how I tend to roll when it comes to OG, not OG, that type of thing. But but yeah, like I said, if there is something where OG is very important to me, yeah, right there in the wild, I'm stepping off into the side, like David was saying. I'm looking at the matrix and making sure it's exactly what it says it is and all of that, and then kind of going from there.
I got you. Yep. All right, Leonardo, you're up.
Well, I'm kind of like on the same line as Brandon, because first thing I check is how does it look visually. So if it's beat up, I'm not even going to get into.
Yeah, why even? Yeah,
I'm
Right.
not. Yeah, I do tend to lean more towards, for certain records, more towards the OG. Like, for example, when I'm at a fair or at a store, I don't even bother looking at the jazz bins. I've said this before. I don't know that much about pressings, so I'm kind of like, I'm perfectly fine with a Blue Note, with Blue Note Classic Series, a Tone Poet, all of these acoustic sound series. I'm fine with those when it comes to jazz. When it comes to classic rock, 80s especially, I tend to go mostly only for originals. And pretty much also for the 70s. The 60s, there are some pretty killer reissues that have come out and remasters that sound better than the way they were done in the 60s, obviously. I haven't had a chance to listen to that many Beatles original monos, like from the UK. But honestly, if I did find them at an affordable price, I probably would pick up a few. But when it comes to like the purchase, and I've decided, okay, I want to get this. Yes, I pull out my app, my phone, and I check the matrix to see what version it is. If I can't tell immediately from the label, judging on when labels got switched or whatever. And a few times I was so confident, and I realized only when I got home, oh man, this is a club pressing. The jury's still out regarding the club pressings. I haven't actually compare club pressings versus original of that time, because sometimes it's the same plate, other times it's not. But yeah, a few times I was more kind of like enthusiastic of just finding it, and I realized only when I got home, the CRC in the back, or time, actually, it is so hard to catch because it's in the last two lines, manufactured by, for example, Columbia House, under license from. So sometimes it's really hard to see. And we all know the lighting in some of these stores.
Oh yeah,
potentially bad.
You get home, you're like, where did all these scratches come from?
I know exactly.
On the car ride home.
Especially some record fairs that are done in these halls where they're not meant for people that are squinting at a matrix in a record. They're really hard to catch, certain glare with the glare and everything, to the point where sometimes I just take a picture and I magnify it so that I can see it better.
That's funny.
It's
funny.
funny.
And one more thing, and if very important, and typically this is only at record stores that I'm pretty more comfortable with. They actually have a turntable and a horrible preamp and an even worse headphone set. That
BYOH, man, BYOH.
I was going to say,
I have actually visually looked at a record, played it, and I'm like, well, this has a little bit, has so much surface noise. Then I bring it home and it sounds so much better. So there's records that I've left behind because when I play tested them, they didn't sound very good, only to know that maybe their system kind of sucked. So you never know.
Yeah, it's true. I was going to say on the club pressing thing is that I remember I had a Live Dead double LP from 60, whenever that came out, 69 or whatever. And I purposely wanted to get an OG press of it, so I bought one online. I got it, and it just had surface noise. It sounded great sonically, but it had surface noise and all this stuff. And so I had a club pressing already. And so I did like a little shootout and just kind of played them back to back, and they were so close. I mean, it was obvious that it was the same mix and everything. The only thing I could even say about it was that the original was just slightly punchier, and I know that's probably like we've all kind of maybe had an experience like that. Is just a little more there than like on the club press, but it took me having to listen to them side by side to really notice that. You know what I mean? I could listen to a club record and enjoy it. Of course, like everything else in the world, you know, every title is going to be different. But for that album specifically, it was like, okay, the club was really good.
Yeah, I found generally the RCA club are better than the Columbia House ones. I mean, when you look at the cut on a RCA, it's a very deep etched cut. And I mean, I don't know where they were exactly cutting them. I think Indianapolis, and I found 9 out of 10 of those blew away 3 out of 10 of the Columbia House. Only 7 out of 10 at Columbia House were decent, whereas 9 out of 10 were in RCA or BMG. So even that makes a difference.
Wow. Yep, we're all crazy. I mean, hey, just use Spotify. It's so much easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So we'll keep it going. I know Chance says he would try to keep this first part down to an hour. So we're actually really good on time. So who wants to kick us off on, let me get the right banner up here, on the Black Sabbath Rhino reissue? Jason, I think you said that you did a shootout on that recently.
Let me go get it. That's right.
Okay. Has anyone else picked that up?
I'm waiting on mine. Still, I got a notice. We're sorry we're late. Here's a discount code to buy more things we're going to ship late.
Please keep it going. Keep it going.
Wow. I'm sorry, David. Whoa, that's
No.
So when did they send you the shipping notice? I mean, just
I never got a
recent?
shipping notice.
Oh, you never did.
And I ordered it the first day.
Oh,
my
wow.
So I got a customer service thing from Rhino and a Warner Music thing with the discount code.
Yeah, which is not going to work when you go try and use it.
That's okay.
So this is the Rhino reissue
There it
that
is.
was supposed to come out, like last week, 2 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
What number was yours, by the way? Did you notice?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Mine is like 4,000 something.
Okay.
I think mine is around like 1,300 or something. Let me see if I can get this. But this is the
Mine's
Rhino
being pressed as
reissue.
we speak.
Right. Yeah.
It's got a lot of hype on it, right? Like, did anyone else on the panel other than David get this finally or ordered it?
Arnaldo just showed it.
I just showed it. Well, yeah, while you were
Okay.
getting yours, I got mine too.
Okay. So
Yeah, that was one of those ones for me that I have an OG, and I didn't get hyped about hearing about the reissue. So at this point, I'm still planning on not even getting it.
so you stayed strong, right? Discipline.
Which OG do you have? Do you have the Greenie or the Vertigo?
The Greenie. Oh, yeah, I wish I had yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah, I have the Greenie.
I never see Vertigos of that title. It's always the later
Wow.
ones, the next few. Oh, here he goes.
So I got a shout out to Chris Vinyl Piper. So we're doing a video with the shootout. That's coming soon. We actually
nice.
did it earlier, and then I think we're editing it right now. And he lent me the Vertigo. I believe this is like
nice.
the second or third pressing. I don't know if I want to get this out, but I mean, if I can show it, I'll show it.
There
It does not
is.
have the Phillips credits, so it is like a second or third. But this is amazing. And then he also gave me the Black Sabbath Warner Brothers white label promo,
Wow.
to compare. So I got a big shout out to Chris Final Piper. And he also gave me a German Vertigo, which is over there. I did compare. So I compared all four. This was like an insane thing. I'm actually sick of this record. I could not, I don't know. I could
I know how
listen.
that goes. Yep.
That's what happens when you're like, I have to listen to every pressing I have. You're like, okay,
know.
now I cannot listen to this for 4 years now and be good.
Now, this is something I got to ask the panel. Like, and I think I've already asked Arnaldo. Like, Arnaldo, we actually did like I think an early listening, between the Rhino and then what was the other one? The US?
No,
Or the
we
Vertigo?
listened to the U.S. and we listened a little bit to the German.
Oh, okay.
No, wait, no, I'm sorry, not the German, the
But
UK,
the UK.
the UK and the
So,
US.
so before I even go forward, like when I say Black Sabbath, we'll go around the panel. What do you think? Like when I say Black Sabbath, what what kind of music do you think it is?
I mean, I think heavy rock or like I don't know, early metal, I guess.
Okay, Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a Black Sabbath is the point where bluesy type hard rock turned to metal.
Okay, David Bianco.
I think quadraphonic version of Paranoid was my first introduction to Black Sabbath. So
Really? And did you have like a
Amazing.
quad? Did you have a quad system back
I
then?
still do. Yes, I still do. Yes.
Oh,
my!
nice.
Whoa. And then
Yeah.
Arnaldo, what do you think?
Actually, let's give them a second try. Can you describe the music? I know where Jason's
Right.
going. Can you describe the music with an adjective?
Oh,
Well, it's sort of
Paranoid.
gothic almost too.
Huh?
I would say
Paranoid,
gothic
isn't it?
too, almost like early
Okay.
gothic as
Gothic. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, or I would say like dark, as in like horror
It's dark.
movie dark.
Yeah, dark, sinister,
Yeah.
gloomy.
Satan.
Yeah.
Butthole surfer.
We'll bleep that out.
So, do you want to keep going, Arnaldo, or should I go with it?
No, you go.
Well, come on, Arnaldo. You're so smart.
no.
What's yours? What's your
Oh,
adjective?
Well, yeah, no, we discussed it already.
He knows.
Okay.
Yeah, Jason and I kind of
I
discussed it.
gotcha.
So we're leaning towards, if you have to describe it in a certain way, it's going to be maybe sinister, kind of
Sinister.
dark and
Dudley Do Right.
Yeah,
Right, I mean, this is like a menacing record. I mean, if you look at the
Menacing,
cover, there's
exactly,
this
yeah. There you
like
go.
lady here, witch.
Yeah.
This isn't a friendly record. I mean, if you open this up, I can't see. Chris has these great like sleeves, and I have to like
Yeah.
do all these things. But it has like an upside down cross in this record. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine if you were a kid and you bought this record and you were trying to hide it from your parents. Like, you did not want them to open this thing up.
Yeah.
Because I mean that thing is serious. And like this was not hippie music. Like flower power. Like clearly not.
Yep.
Church
Okay.
lady says no Black Sabbath.
That's right. Okay. So now we get to this reissue, right? So this is definitely like a hi-fi audio file, right? You have all the benchmarks here cut. The 180 gram
Blah,
You
blah,
know,
blah, blah, blah.
cut from the original analog master tapes by Kevin Gray, pressed at optimal. Comes with insert limited edition 5,000. There we go. Okay. Now, after comparing this against the UK Vertigo white label promo German, and then what you guys described, right? Do you think this required like the audiophile treatment, like i.e., in my opinion, clarity and balance? Let's go around the panel. What do you think?
This sounds like a thing about Marquee Moon. the rawness of the original versus the basically the purity of what sounds like what's coming out now.
Correct. So I mean,
Right,
yeah. So it's like a style, right? That's
Right.
what I'm trying to like. The point, like, did it need this? Like.
I would guess no, just in terms of that's not an album I think that craves separation and layering and that type of thing.
No.
It's just that almost like it would take away from it.
No, it craves sales.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, it's like
And
I felt
it
the
did.
same way about like the remastering or whatever they did with the Hendrix records that came out. Same thing with the Beatles reissues that came out in the last 5 or 10 years or whatever, is that it almost takes you out of that original experience that you have when you listen to those early ones. It's too anyway. But so to everyone's point, that's how I felt about those. If this is the same way, then I'm a pass.
Well, it happened with Thriller, where the
same thing.
The one step's very clean, and you can appreciate Bruce Swedine's work and Quincy Jones, but you don't want to dance to it as much as the OG.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it changes the experience.
So even though this had like a lot of hype and great reviews, everyone's raving about it. I mean, this thing is on the secondary market for selling for like 100 or up now. You know,
Wow.
150. Yep.
right? It's crazy.
FOMO.
But what we just went around and talked about, like in my opinion, after doing the comparison, and Arnaldo can state his opinion, this never beat the Vertigo. This never did, you know, because the Vertigo was like super menacing. Like we didn't, you know, I was like, this is really dark music. Like this is crazy, you know.
Yeah, unless it's a bad mix or pressing or whatever where there's distortion, like sometimes happens on it's like Velvet Underground and Nico is like there's distortion just inherent on that tape, and even with Nico's vocals and things like that, yeah, maybe if you could clean that up a little, be a little more listenable, but or less fatiguing, I guess, but it's not really there on these Sabbaths.
That Rhino has a bit more high end, like more treble, so it's a bit brighter. And what I noticed that when I was doing the comparison with Arnaldo and Chris Final Piper, it was like very fatiguing to go through it, you know.
The reissue.
Yes, the Rhino Hi-Fi reissue. So I felt like, that's too bad, you know. While that original Vertigo that I'm holding up, like this thing was awesome. You could play this anytime you wanted to, you know.
How did the U.S. White Label promo compare? What was its characteristics?
A little bit, just a little bit more detail. Probably like a lot more. I think Mazzy called it. It has more balls. It does. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it actually, but I mean, in some ways, like it was sort of like splitting hairs between this and the reissue. But I don't think like the highs were that, you know, heavy on the White Label promo. Like this was cut by Artisan, right?
Right.
So even though like similar splitting hairs, like this, I would say like this was my second pick. Like if you couldn't get the Rhino reissue, like get a green Warner Brothers. You know, you don't have to get the White Label promo, but this would be my second choice for sure. You know,
Man, stop flashing that thing. I can't. I'm having a hard time looking at it. Jeez.
no, but I'm saying like if you have like a Warner Brothers, Brandon, like I think you're fine. You don't need to get the Rhino.
Something about those white label promos, they do it to me.
I know.
Well,
Like that thing is beautiful.
they are usually given to their top pressing plant for that release that gets the most orders, and the first plant that presses it. So usually it's the top plant that they think at the time will provide that because it's done earlier than the others or released earlier. So, yeah.
That's
Well,
nice.
so let me ask the tough question, Jason.
Sure.
Why make that purchase?
For me, it's more curiosity. That's all.
Yeah.
I like Sabbath. I mean, I was never into them, and then in 2013, I decided, you know, why don't I go? Like at that time, I was going for more country of origin 10 years ago, and I was like buying them for like less than 20 euros a pop. You know, that's when prices were, you know, the dream price, right? And I would get them all from like Europe or the UK, and so then I grew to like. I have more respect for them. Like, and I went to see them live during that last reunion tour, I think in 2015, 16. But like they invented every metal genre. Like this is a doom metal record, you know? Sabotage is more of a speed metal record, right? And I think my favorite, I mean, even though like it's not with Ozzy, like it's Heaven and Hell, like thing. If you track their history, you know, like Ozzy wasn't doing well in Technical Ecstasy or Never Say Die. Like he was failing, you know?
Yeah.
So when they gave him the boot and they got Dio, it was like, whoa, what the hell's going on here, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
But so I did not.
That's cool. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just like, it's a.
So I mean, it's just curiosity, like to me,
Yeah.
and I love the band, you know, like I appreciate them more than I did when I was younger, you know. But the worst of all the bunch that he sent me was the German Vertigo.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, it sounded like it was under like it was like muffled under a blanket, and it was embarrassing. I was like, man, I don't know, you know, and I wasn't sure like if we want to include that in the video, like making that announcement here, like that's that's probably causing some controversy, I guess.
Well, it is what it is,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
But I
they
think
can't all be home runs.
I know it
Yeah.
was like funny. I think Arnaldo, we compared like the UK versus the US, just
Yeah, and I was telling you right then and there, in some songs the difference was more noticeable.
Sure.
That the UK, at least I preferred the UK, right? On
Was it
other,
a matter of the songs that were more raw versus not as raw, and that's where the difference was? Curious.
well, it sounded like I used the term beefier, uh, where the guitars had more substance to them. And I don't want to say that on some tracks the Rhino was a little thinner. For sure, overall, it's more balanced. I mean, granted, he was streaming because I don't have those. He was streaming and I was listening on my headphones. So let's take that into account as well. There's no room acoustics, nothing else, and then and that headphones also color music in a specific way. So it may very well be that if I had both copies in my home and I listened to them, I'm come out with a different outcome. But I did notice that, and I've only spun the Rhino twice because I only got it the other day. It sounds more balanced, whereas the UK one is not, I don't want to say more raw. It seems to be a little more in your face, where in some cases, I think it was a little too much in your face. And that's what I said to Jason. We don't know at the time what type of equipment they were using when they mastered this record. If they had different, more updated equipment, and the same cutting engineer, the same mastering engineer was doing it 50 years ago, it would sound very much like the Rhino. So we don't know that. That's when we come to like, oh, the whole artist's intent. It's very relative, the artist's intent, because a lot of times the artist did not approve the final master. It was always, remember, they recorded this in like a day, and they didn't even have a record deal at the time. So the record label probably took the tapes and did everything and then just put it out. Back then, sure. I don't think there was artist approval. I don't. They were
nobody at the time.
Exactly, especially for your first record. No one's saying is like, oh, that's how they really wanted it. That's how the engineer really wanted it. No, that's how the label probably wanted it. Right. So we don't know in the end. That's why I like to leave the benefit of the doubt, where maybe it could sound different if it was that same engineer was cutting it on some other equipment. But because we listened to these records for 50 plus years in that same way, anytime we listen to it in a modern way, we'll notice a difference and we'll kind of like smirk and say, well, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how I listened to it for the past 50 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it always comes down to this. It's what you like.
Yeah.
So, and we did like the A/B for like 3 songs, I think it was.
The Wizard.
The Wizard and
A Bit of a Finger.
A Bit of a Finger, right. On the Wizard, I think I didn't notice the difference as much as I did on A Bit of a Finger. On the Bit of a Finger, I noticed that I preferred the UK, the Vertigo.
Well, so let me ask you this, Arnaldo and Jason, because you're making me think of when I did a shootout of Eric Dolphy's Out to Lunch, and I use an OG, Classic Series, Music Matters 45 RPM, a Japanese press. And like we talked about when we first came on, was just how that tape is just so good that it's almost hard to get it wrong as long as you don't mess with it. But my question is, on the earlier pressings, there's a little more articulation in the high end. Like you'll pick up on some things that were like high end that kind of recede in later reissues, but then the later reissues had a little more bass. So I found myself saying, man, if I could just Frankenstein these, you know what I mean, masters together, you'd have the perfect Out to Lunch. I mean, was there some of that going on? Like, was there pros and cons, or was it across the board, the OG's just better?
No, yeah. According to a couple of songs, it was never one everything, in my opinion, especially when comparing to the US one, because we did also the comparison to the US one. I didn't see, the US did not best when it did best the Rhino as much as the UK copy bested the Rhino when it bested it.
Hmm.
If I had $350 and I wanted to spend that money for the Vertigo, maybe I would. I have come across it.
I mean, there's a reason why the Vertigo's worth a lot now.
Right.
You know, when you hear it, you know, it's, you know, anyone on the panel, if you want, we can do a session sometime and we'll listen. But you need to have like over-the-ear headphones. We cannot do AirPods. You know?
Yeah, no.
We
Thing
cannot.
with the computer speakers.
Right, we cannot. I mean, it's better you just do a deep listen, you know. And you can see how I compare it. So, and to back up, like I compare the record like with these turntables. So one record is 5 seconds ahead of the other one, right? So then what
Exactly.
you hear first,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
then you know, hearing, you know, the same thing repeated, you know, so
Yeah.
it's fresh in your mind.
That's what I do.
I forgot to ask you, Jason, do you have the same cartridge?
Yep, same
both
cartridge on
turntables?
both.
You have to. Cartridge
Sorry.
makes the most difference.
You know.
Yeah, that's hardcore too. It's like I don't have a mono cartridge to listen to my mono records. I don't have you know, I have a Shibata stylus, which is actually was originally designed for like quad
CD4.
So, yeah, it
CD4.
sucks out a lot of you know, a lot of the
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the groove, which is
Gets
good.
down the
But
groove, yeah.
yeah, I don't mess around with switching stylus and all that stuff.
It's a groovy stylus.
All right, well, that kind of segues us into this. I hope you guys have fun with this. I put a little something together here. So, smash or pass. And when I said this to Chance, he was like, "What?" And it's I thought that was like a common knowledge. Like it's sort of like, would you smash this, or are you going to pass on it? So, you know, it's hot or not, yes or no, good or bad kind of a thing. And so I picked some of the recent reissues and then some upcoming, you know, some that are pre-selling now. And I thought we could each go around and say smash or pass. So let me throw this up here real quick. Boom. Sorry for the ad. This is going to make everyone want to go out and buy a hybrid. So yeah, let's just start. We just talked about it. That's why this is a good segue. So where do we put, gosh, that's tiny. But so where do we put this then? And maybe this, everybody except myself and the Hall of Famer are not, I guess have picked this up. But Brandon, you're happy with your pressing?
Yeah, unless someone gave me that as a gift, I'm going to pass. I'm not going to go drop 60, 70, 80 bucks on it. No.
So Arnaldo and Jason, are you guys passes even though you picked it up? What do you think? I mean, now is this something you're going to spin or?
Oh,
Now that
definitely.
you know what you know.
Now that you know what you know.
I'm still with the smash.
Oh, you're still smash. Okay.
Okay.
Jason?
I bought it, so I'm going to be honest here. I'm honest, right? I'm going to flip this thing, you know?
Okay.
I'm going to flip it because it did not compare, in my opinion, you know? Even though it did try. I give the B for the attempt, you know, so I'm passing on
But
this.
you borrowed several of your copies, right?
Yes.
So which one do you have?
I actually own the Vertigo.
You actually own, okay, I thought Chris loaned that to you. Okay.
But he did send me but he did send me his copy of the Vertigo.
Okay.
Like mine is in
All right.
storage.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he's
with
going to
Indiana
flip it, so there you
Jones.
go.
He's a pass. And David, the verdict's out, right? We're going to see if you ever get yours. Maybe we can talk about it in the future.
Yeah, I got here. And let me be real honest. So I bought it to compare it for a shootout. Obviously, everybody and their dog is doing one before I get mine, so it's
Oh
worthless.
no.
But
You should have
that's
got yours
okay.
first.
That's okay. But my point is, I bought.
Your opinion still matters, David. So
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate
Do it.
that. But I did buy two, and the reason is I want to find somebody who didn't get it, who wanted it badly, that I can sell it to for list price
There you go.
in the VC.
Right.
That's a hero of the VC up here.
So
VC hero right there.
yeah.
All right. So I think we're in the middle on that. We got some smashes and some passes. So next up, let me just get to the right place here so I know what these are. Okay. So Monastic Trio just came out. Verve by Request series. And I know I'm bringing up some jazz here, and I know we don't have all jazz heads in the panel, but Alice Coltrane, her stuff has been difficult to get, the reissues, and so it's always nice for people like me when they reissue some of this stuff. Are you guys smash or pass on this? Are you guys planning on picking this one up, or have you picked it up?
No.
Is it a third man pressing?
I don't know.
It's
So actually, June.
request.
This comes out tomorrow. Actually, yeah, it's Verve by Request.
Has to be.
I'm going to leave it in the maybe. I'll read the reviews on how it sounds.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very wise.
With
that's
the
exactly what I was
caveat
going to put. It was in a
third
maybe.
man pressing.
Anyone else? David, Jason?
It's in a maybe for me too.
Maybe for you. Okay.
It's a pass. I own the original.
Okay.
Okay. See.
Rub it in our face, Jason.
I know. I don't know. Like, it's those vinyl by request. Like, I know most people don't have the original. They can't compare it. They don't have my setup, you know. But I understand. Like, that's the original.
He's not
as well.
flexing, by the way.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to show it. I actually tried to find it downstairs. I was like, I guess I don't have it. I guess it's in storage. Like, whoa. But I like those. I don't know if it's pressed at third man, then you're getting a 50-50, right? If it's going to be
Yeah, I don't have that information right in front of me.
I have the first one that they did, Pata Al Daoud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I had to get a replacement because it didn't sound very good.
Oh really?
And I think actually it had lip warp on it too. So that's why I'm approaching with caution.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I
But
got
I mean,
lucky
the
on that one.
original, like the original, selling for over what 150.
Oh,
So
I've never
it's-
seen that cover anywhere.
really.
Like I've never
Okay.
seen that.
Okay. So I mean, like, this is. I mean, to go back to our first topic, like this is a good reason to get the reissue, right? Like, it's going to be affordable, you know.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
But then you get to that other thing, if it's going to sound good or not, you know. So then now you're entering what I call like VC reissue fallacy, right? Like you had it, this is all you can hear. So you know, if it sounds good, then it sounds good to you, you know.
Right.
Yeah, same thing with Tav the Eldel. Like I wouldn't have got an original of that, but I enjoy the reissue, so I'm happy
Yeah.
with it.
Mhm.
Come,
All right.
come to Texas. We'll have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm
Listen
planning
to the
to, man. You guys have all the fun in Texas.
There you go.
So I don't know how many are interested in Blue Note Classic series, but I always have my eye on them. But I thought this was interesting. So in June, they occasionally will put out a record that isn't well known from the 50s or 60s, or even a 70s record, which they tend to kind of be in their wheelhouse. This month, they're actually doing an Aaron Parks record, Invisible Cinema, which was released in 2008. And then they're doing Jason Moran, his album 10 from 2010. So I thought, these aren't classics, or are they? I think it's kind of another discussion. Like, can we call a 2008 record a classic? Or I don't know if you guys have any interest in these. I'm going to pass on both of these, but
Pass.
Yeah,
Pass,
I'm
pass,
not even
pass.
familiar with those two actually, so
No,
I guess
me
I'll
either.
have to pass for now.
okay, gotcha. Jason Moran's good, but yeah, at the same time, it's like these aren't classics. All right. So what about these $60 pre-orders for Yes Records? And I think this is a good discussion we've kind of had before, which is, you know, when an OG is pretty readily available at a very affordable price, how eager, and I know some of us do, but are you guys smash or pass on these? And are you guys aware of these these are Analog Productions, the Yes albums that are coming out. They're being pre-ordered right now.
Smash.
You're smashing, all right?
Yeah, I'm a subscriber, and everyone has impressed me.
Okay.
So I mean, they're in the dog in the litter on this one. I mean, they have all been really strong.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Yeah, I've just gotten into Analog Productions, and yeah, that's one of the only pressings of, like you said, a common album that you'll find for $10 or $15 anywhere that I would go to Analog Productions and grab. So yeah, if I can get my hands on this, yes, I'd grab. I'm gonna smash.
Okay. Couple smashes. Anyone else?
I'm going to pass for now. I have an original pressing.
Well,
I
the
don't
Yes
love-
album, the
I
Yes
don't
album
love-
is the
I
one
don't-
shipping.
I
today.
don't love that one that much to, get the double 45.
And I didn't put all the titles in here, but I think there's like 3 of them that are, like David said, one shipping
Yes.
today. There's like 2 other ones upcoming.
Right.
Now that's probably the only one I would get. Oh, that's the only one I would smash.
Owner of a Lonely
Yeah.
Heart, baby.
Yeah.
Love that
Yeah.
song. Well, so David, let me ask you then. So is it that obviously you haven't heard it yet, but the ones you have heard are impressive enough to go ahead and get a reissue then?
Yeah, I mean, I did a review on 90125,
Okay.
and it beat the UK and it beat the US. And
Wow.
and so I'm now the Yes album I'll get probably tomorrow, and we'll see how that one does. But we did a triple shootout on the Yes album, Close to the Edge, and Fragile, on with the 2 other guys. One of them being the Pressing Matter Scott. And so so we're going to go now, and the guy that did the Yes album, he's going to do this one to the winner that won the first shootout. So we kind of got a thing going on it.
I might leave that in Smash then. Okay. How about, let's see, we got Alice Coltrane's Eternity. Back to Alice Coltrane. Now, a few of 4 of these are Vinyl Me Please records. Alice Coltrane getting another reissue. Vinyl Me Please. Or this one just came out in May. Any interest in this Alice Coltrane for anyone? This is...
I got it.
You got Eternity, yeah.
Yes.
You
got
got
it.
one. Okay. How is it? Have you spun it yet?
No, I
Okay.
wasted too much time with Sabbath.
That's quite a change from Sabbath.
I know.
Yeah, you need a little break now.
Yeah, for
Anyone
me,
else?
that's an Alice Coltrane. I'm not even not familiar with that album at all. So I guess it's going to be a pass since I don't even know it yet.
I got it.
Arnaldo picked it up. Okay.
And I had to submit a request because the first copy I got did not sound good. There was tons of crackling and non-fill in it. But the mastering, I don't have an original. I'm perfectly happy with it. A lot of the percussion that is on here seems like they were playing in my room, and the soundstage was really nice. I really felt the presence of the music. So for me, it was, now that I have a second copy that actually sounds good in terms of pressing, I'm happy with it.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, when I was out with Chance, we actually saw a copy of this. I don't know if it was an OG or what, but I didn't recognize that cover either. And I've seen a fair amount of Alice Coltrane, but this one was new to me too. So, All right. How about one of the big ones? Here's Little Richard right here. Again, Vinyl Me Please. Came out in May. Did anyone pick this up?
I got it.
Arnaldo's all over it.
Well, because I'm subscribed to Vinyl Me Please.
I was going to say, yeah, some of you guys are
Yeah.
subscribed.
So, no, and the reason why I got it is because every time I see one that's used, it's always beat up. It's
There you
like
go.
it's played to death, and I've never found a copy that actually looks playable. So I think for me, that's as good as it gets until maybe I find an original. And that one too, I don't know how much better it's going to sound in an original because it's a 1957 or 56 recording. So it's not an audiophile recording.
Right.
Right.
Well, like
and the
someone
way
said
they-
earlier, it's like trying to make a Charlie Parker or audiophile pressings of Charlie Parker or something. Yeah. Someone in the comment section mentioned that. All right. So, okay. I'm going to put, honestly, I think that is a smash. If it's a good, nice, clean copy. And some of this, the other problem though, I'll say, Arnaldo, is that like on some of these older records, when you get them, a new reissue, same thing that we talked about earlier, it's almost can be cleaned up too much. And it'll take you out of the experience. You didn't really get that from this one?
No, it sounds like a record from 1956
Okay.
in terms of sound. They did. I don't know how it was recorded. It was probably, I think it's actually mine. right? Is it a mono? I believe it's the mono version, right?
Probably.
Yeah, and I think they were bouncing tracks on from one another because they were probably recording on, I don't know, David, maybe you can help, on a 2-track.
Yeah.
So it's not like they had this great hi-fi technology where they're,
No.
the instruments in the end sounded a little bit glued together.
Yep.
And you always have, because back then what mattered was what you heard through the AM radio, and it's usually the
Sure.
voice that comes out. And that's what Little Richard was about a lot, mostly, is his voice that really jumps out at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to be the center of attention. Let's know.
And he
He
and
is
that's-
the center of attention here, you know?
Oh, okay. It's got to be an OG, right?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't even have to ask.
So, Jason, did you get the Vinyl Me Please version or not?
No, it was sold out. I didn't.
Oh, it was sold out.
Oh, it's sold out.
So you did have the curiosity.
Yeah, I did, but I was too late. I did the switch too late, you know? So now, I mean, I did have the MoFi at one point.
Oh, MoFi did that?
Yeah, it was like in the early 2000s, I think. And the MoFi never beat the original, you know? It didn't, because it was like really cut at a lower noise floor level. So you really had to crank it, and then it sounded really muffled. And then I was like, that's sad, you know, because this record should jump out at you. Here's Little Richard. I mean, if you see the cover, the guy he's happy. He's shouting to you, you know? Like, you can't have this album sound like it's underwater, you know?
Yep. All right. How about anyone in? So here's a couple of June releases. How about Isaac Hayes, Black Moses? Anyone going for this one?
I opted for that, yes.
Same here.
All right.
Yeah.
Smashing. And how about?
And I also smashed the T-Rex.
And the T-Rex is smashed as well.
Are you familiar with that record?
Am I?
Or anyone on the panel, are you familiar with that T-Rex record?
Yeah, I actually played it before I opted for it, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's the first record where they rock out, you know? It's still like a little bit acoustic folk, but now they're getting into that electric. I can't remember the song. Is it the White Swan is on the record?
Yeah.
And that is like the beginning of him picking, Mark Bolan of T-Rex picking up the electric guitar and rocking out, you know?
Yeah.
And then last but not least, and I don't know, I thought this was the big one. So this was, and maybe controversial, I don't know. So they're doing the Bruce Springsteen. This one's the Wild Innocent and the E Street Shuffle, 180 gram, 33 RPM, super vinyl, etc., etc. $100 or more, and then it's from a DSD, right? And I don't know how many of these are from DSD, but I'm thinking this will kind of segue into another question. I actually forgot to put it on here, but anyone planning to get this?
Pass.
Nope.
Yeah, but definitely a pass.
Okay.
Matter of fact, almost any early Bruce reissues are a pass for me.
Do you like Bruce
really?
Springsteen?
I love Bruce Springsteen. I mean, he's
Okay.
amazing, but it's just I don't get the magic of those first three or so albums. I really don't.
Oh, that's a great album.
Are you gonna grab it, Ronaldo?
And I have the box set, you know, the Plangent Process one.
Yeah.
But that actually, that album is better recorded and better sounding than Born to Run,
Well,
in my opinion.
most records are better sounding than Born to Run. To be honest, you know, great album and content, but man, the recording just was weaker now.
All right. Oh, go ahead, Brandon.
Oh no, I was just gonna just kind of putting a comment on there. It's just something about that early Bruce. It's a little too chaotic for me. It just seems like the pieces just don't quite fit in the way the songs are delivered for whatever reason. That's the way I
He
experience
was
it.
trying to find himself, I do.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite Springsteen then? I'm curious. Like, if you didn't like the first three, What do you go
My-
for?
Are you talking about mid Springsteen or later? Well, my absolute favorite album by Springsteen is Western Stars.
Okay. I think you mentioned this before. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that album is just, I mean, just amazing. Which is basically kind of the second version of Nebraska, basically. But yeah, that's probably my favorite Springsteen album right now.
I got to make a note of that. I remember you did mention that one last time you showed it. So yeah.
Yeah.
All righty then. Well, I think we're about done with the
We're at the hour.
podcast proper. And man, exactly at the hour. Pretty amazing
Man.
right there. All right. Well, we're going to end the podcast proper. We're going into the freestyle, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere if you're in the chat. We're going to go for a little more time here. But for the podcast listeners, thanks for joining. And we will see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys. Thanks for joining. Okay, I got to find my little... There we go. Boom. All right. Freestyle time. Freestyle time.
All right.
Well, so I kind of thought, it's interesting with the whole DSD thing. And I don't know, I didn't get involved in the whole MoFi gate and all that stuff. But I just wonder have we cooled off from that? Like, how are people feeling? I mean,
I'm waiting for my check.
Are you? You filled out your form and all that?
It's all sent back, and
I just
followed
mailed
up.
mine back today, literally today.
Like 4 weeks I think I mailed them about 4 weeks ago, and I followed up earlier in the week asking, "Hey, you got my records? Where's my money?" Basically, I was like, "Oh, well, you'll be getting it directly from, I guess, the firm, the
settlement company."
Yeah, the settlement company.
Yeah.
So,
But,
yeah.
but did the guy at Music Direct laugh when you asked him when you're going to get your money?
No, he was like, he said, be patient, and basically that'll be coming directly from them.
Did
How
he
many
tell
did you
you
send
it
back,
was going to
Ronaldo?
be? It's going to be digital coinage. You didn't know that?
How many did you send back?
I think it was nine or 10.
All one steps.
All but 2
Okay.
were one steps.
Wow.
So a chunk of change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they
hoped
giving
to have that money
100%
so he
back?
Yeah,
On the refund, the ones that you return, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get cost plus shipping plus tax.
Yeah. And they were
Okay.
smart enough because they saw how many I was returning and what I was returning. They sent me 2 mailing labels
Oh,
because
okay.
I actually needed 2 boxes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Wow. So what about moving forward? I mean, are you still, and
I'm
we just
open. I'm open. It's
Okay.
just that they haven't done any titles that I'm really interested in.
Yeah,
I think I'm
that's
kind of
the thing.
done with the one step. And since actually, I have bought the Miles Davis, which I think sound very good, and I've bought some other ones that sound very good. But it's just the whole, one step. I think I really don't need the full box with only a tiny little square of the artwork. And the whole, I'm actually rethinking the whole double 45 aspect.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Again, if the artist intended the record to be split at a certain point, then that's when the pause happens, right?
Right.
Not every 2 songs. Just like, hold on a second.
That's a good point. Like, you couldn't do that to a Grateful Dead album.
Just like this,
A live
which I
album.
added to my order. So Analog Productions is doing the Atlantic 75 of this. And
Nice.
side 1 has a song that's 18 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't care how good it's going to sound. To chop a song, fade it down and fade it back in, stupid.
Is that what they're doing?
Well, probably that's what they're going to have to do. This is coming out on the Atlantic 75, right, David?
Which one is it? Sorry,
Coltrane Olay.
yeah.
Olay.
Yeah, and they're going to split it in half, the side 1. That makes no sense to me. What's the point of that? I don't care. I'm not listening to sound. I'm listening to music.
But
Yeah.
it's on 45. What? I don't get it.
It's like that ad where it was like Android versus iPhone, and it was like, you know,
And actually, haven't they done that already on the? Is it the Genesis album that they had to
Yes.
split a song? I didn't get that one.
Yeah.
Was it a Trick of the Tail, or was right?
No, was it Lamb? No, it was
No, it wasn't the
the
Lamb.
three, it was a
Selling.
3 LP. Lamb Lies Down on Broadway's
Oh, it was a
coming.
Lamb. Lamb Lies Down.
Yeah, I think it was.
Whoa, KRWD. You
Yeah,
need
so
to
they're
get-
splitting Olay right into 2 pieces essentially. So
Yeah.
yeah.
so
KRWD.
Yeah,
delay
I got a
notice from
delay
Ryan.
notice.
Yep.
okay. So
Not
if
the
you get
only one.
if you get the delay notice, then I recommend you contact the customer service and make sure that they have the record for you.
Yeah, I got an email from them too. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was one of so here we go. So was one of those records Abraxas, Arnaldo?
That was the first one step.
I mean,
No,
the
I
one
don't-
was that one you returned.
No
Oh
way.
no, I didn't have it.
No way.
I think I would be stupid if I returned that one.
Okay.
Just saw
I
one on
figured-
sale for. I
He's
just saw
like,
a
yeah, what?
sealed one on sale for 1,800 on a
Oof.
group in Facebook.
Wow.
Crazy.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the one I wanted to hear the most when I went to visit Mike Esposito at the In-Groove store. And I go, he asked me when I went there,
Yeah, you said
Um,
that. Yeah.
you know, what do you want to listen to? And I go, can we listen to Abraxas One Step? And he gave me this look like, yo, I got 3 of them sealed back here, but I ain't going to open one of them for you. But he was like, next time you know, in Arizona, just message me and we'll listen to my copy, you know, and, you know, so you can hear it. And I was like, cool, you know, but I was like, man, not for
Crazy.
me. Just open it up, you know?
Yep. It's Wicked talking about, you know, 45 RPM propaganda and all that stuff. It's such a tangled web that we're in, right? In the vinyl community and the hi-fi community, you know, sometimes things can sound, you know, it could be that a 45 RPM pressing is the best pressing in the same way that some other reissue or an OG might be the best pressing. And it's just so much of it comes down to mastering, and it comes down to your ears. It comes down, we talked about, like Arnaldo was saying, like, is this the way you're used to hearing it, or does it sound different and you're picking up on all the changes? Do you have a stereo that'll squeeze out whatever extra lineage is in those, you know, PSI, you know, on the
That's what I was
45?
getting ready to ask. Yeah, that's a really good point. I was gonna say, because, and again, I guess I don't communicate with a ton of different people here in the VC, so maybe these are conversations that take place all the time. But it's like all this talk about like what sounds better and this and that, and like my first question is always, okay, wait, what have you done within your system to be able to even pull out the difference in a lot of these details that everyone is talking about? You know, it's like, is there any effort, any investment? And again, I know we all want a heck of a lot more than we can afford. I mean, I think that's pretty, you know, much across the board for like 99.9% of us here in the VC. But, you know, are you taking those steps? Like, what can you do to take your system to the next level before you even start telling me about the pressing?
Right.
You know?
Well, I also think, like, do you like the music? I mean, I hope you do, you know, and
Mhm.
you're taking a big step, you know, to have this on 45. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, for listening to 45 is wrong, you know. It's just a different experience too. And I agree with Brandon, like, if your setup is not able to, you know, hit that sound, you know, because, you know, it should sound bigger, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm assuming there, you know. I
Well,
had a
that's
friend over. I had a friend from the UK over, like he's in the VC, a guy named Paul, and we met up. And he was looking through my records, and he finds that Doors "L.A. Woman" AP on double 45, right? And then he's like, "Wait, do you have the original?" I go, "Yeah, I do have the original. I have a white label promo, right?"
Of course
He's
you
like,
do.
Right, and he's like, "Can we compare this?" You know, so we compared it, you know, and it was very different, you know. Like the AP, of course, was double 45. It was more clarity, more separation, but it really smoothed out the high end, While the original, of course, had the high end, but not enough bass that the 45 had, you know?
Right.
So it was like a whole different listening experience. And then I was like, well, what would you pick? You know, like you're my guest. This was your choice to compare, you know, your choice to listen to these records. And he was like, I think I'm okay with the OG. I'm like, oh, okay, you know? And then
Well,
he
and
asked me
David,
what
you're probably the authority on that, but it's like
Yeah.
you can get more bass in those records because of
Yeah.
you can have a wider groove and all of
Well,
that
there's no
stuff.
doubt. There's no doubt of the physics side of it.
Right.
But every time you do a cut, it's different. So I've been reading the comment about Steve Hoffman, and I don't know if he cut those at the same time or what. But there's a lot of variables, and speed is just one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, to take any of these and to, give it some hyperbole is kind of contextually dishonest, because there are so many variables that go into it. The age of the tape and the equipment that was used, was it all the same equipment? There's a lot of questions that have to be answered in the mastering chain as a whole.
Yeah, good point. Record Keeper's asking, did anyone on the panel get the Abbey Road Quadrophenia opinions?
So the half speed that came out.
I did.
Yeah, I didn't get that one.
No, I didn't.
not.
I got
Because-
Tommy, but I didn't get Quadrophenia.
Yeah.
And I preferred the OG Tommy over the half speed.
Really? Why? Curious.
Sounded better.
Okay.
Moving on.
Oh, man.
No, I mean I just felt the Decca had weighted, a thicker sound, and
Okay.
had more presence to it.
Well,
Then I
David,
have-
wait till you get the track records one.
Oh, you mean the UK
The
version?
UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard that one, to be honest. So,
Yeah, I found it at the WFMU last year,
oh,
and
did
I have a Decca.
okay,
I prefer, like, the UK sounds amazing.
I'm sure.
The punch that it has, the US Decca doesn't.
Yeah, well, yeah, country of origin, right? It's still that's
Well,
a fact.
it's hit or miss. Some people say Exile on Main Street. You want to have the US one, the artisan US Exile on Main Street.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody brought it up earlier too, and I know this happened with Japanese pressings, where they would just take the metal parts and ship them over to Japan. You're basically getting the same record, but not always. It is a hit or miss thing. It's like in some cases, yes, you could say, oh, this is basically a U.S. pressing just issued from Japan, but most times that's not the case.
The plates of the Abbey Road, the -2-1,
Mhm.
was sent to Australia, and the Australia pressings are the -2-1s. They're the UK plates.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I found a UK Australian version, and it was stamped exactly the same as my UK one.
I have a Dutch one that's a -2-1.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah.
So Jason's asked, I know we covered this in the beginning, but where's David's records?
I just moved, so I
He's
haven't
got
put
3
them
of
back in yet.
Exchange rate bets.
No,
David-
David Bianca
David said-
collection.
David
right?
sent all the records back to BoFi.
Even his Abraxas. He's a man of principle. Abraxas
right.
went back too.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. I'll take $125 when I can get $1,800 any day.
Yeah, right.
Not too good at math, but okay.
Strictly for principles.
That's it.
Absolutely.
I'm just kind of going through the comments.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You got to be ready to flip that thing over 3 times too, right? To get through it. And you still have inner groove distortion. Although I guess, that there's usually a more run out groove on a 45 RPM too, which I guess mitigates some of that. But yeah, to your point, David, I mean, there's just so many physics involved. It only really deals with 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, when you're traveling at the different rate, and you can stretch that out, the cut out linearly, that's less distortion for the stylus and the cantilever going through that channel. So there is a physics aspect as well as a time advantage aspect.
Yeah. Well, and just wider groove, and there's
Yeah.
People don't talk much about tape degradation over the years. Yeah, I know Rick Rubin
Yeah.
and Neil Young think the analog degrades quickly, and I saw a thing about that too, where they talk about that almost immediately it starts degrading.
It's all about the storage, period. The storage and the winding, how well it's wound. Those two
Supposedly,
things-
the Blue Note catalog is pretty nice. Apparently, I mean, you see a lot of the videos where they go in, they're showing a lot of the tapes and stuff like that, and
What would they tell you if they weren't?
yeah, exactly. Don't show it on camera though, but these look great.
They show you only the box. It's not
Yeah,
like they
you're
show
right.
you the
Oh,
tape.
man.
Yep. Look at the RVG signature on here, though. It's got to be good. Da, da, da.
enough.
45 versions also are detrimental to the immersion into the music, along with, of course, the artistic intent with grouping the songs per side. Yeah, especially the sequencing, and I think like Jason said.
But don't get me wrong. I mean, nothing sounds like the double 45 rumors. I mean, even if you
Oh, wow. I haven't even heard that.
Or
it sounds
or the
better than the
self-titled,
original?
or the self-titled.
or
I
the
mean,
self-titled 2012.
albums that I love, I'm not saying I will never get them on double 45.
Yeah.
I just don't think I need everything on double 45.
That's correct.
Right.
If I can get 90% of it at 33.
Gotcha. And especially if they have to fade in and out on a, on a song.
Oh no,
that's
an easy.
That's
pass.
a deal breaker. That's a pass.
One of the perspectives I have is if I get a more expensive version and it's double 45, whatever, and it's really not a huge improvement over the original. My perspective is that original was really damn good.
Right.
As opposed
Right.
to saying, the new one isn't good because it didn't beat it. Sometimes they get all out of it that they can get. That does happen.
So I
But
have a question for David.
Yeah.
Because you heard it.
Yeah.
I still have a Nightfly one step sealed. To open or not to open? I have an original. I have another repress that was done maybe in the early 2000s.
I did a video on that and I picked it's a 16 or 18 Bellman press over the one step.
Really?
33. Yeah. I borrowed it from I was going to buy one, and after hearing it, I honestly felt the Delta, I honestly felt the Bellman beat it. Frankly. It's worth good money though, Arnold.
I know, that's why I never opened it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be more than willing to send you my Bellman that I have to listen to because it's spectacular. It may still be available. I don't know. I don't think so, but
I don't know if is that the one from like the
16 or 18, I think.
Okay. I'm not sure it may have been 16, not before.
No, I don't think it was before that.
Okay, because I don't remember the direct. So
I'll double check. I'll let you know, but
I bought mine. I think it must have been 2012.
Yeah, no, this is definitely well after that.
Let me see how I have it in Discogs.
Everybody's going to Discogs.
Well, no, because my memory fails me now. It's like I've already bought a couple records that I have, only to find out
we've never done that. No.
Well, while you guys are checking, so Brandon, those are acoustic panels you got back there, right?
Yeah. It's just kind of a inexpensive, quick way just to dampen the room a little bit. And it actually made a huge difference too. It made a gigantic difference without, being technical about it and everything else. I was just like, there's a bunch of walls surrounding this part of the system, just kind of put some basic treatments up there, and it made a huge difference.
I mean, they look good. And you got the little, what do they call those, the corner ones that you have up there too?
I don't know the specific name.
I forget what they're called, but yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't make it that complicated. Like with the foam, I just basically went with some basic black thumbtacks just kind of put on the edges that hold them all up very well. So I didn't have to do, like a bunch of anything to mount them or anything. So it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, David, I checked. Yeah, mine is the Chris Bellman.
21.
Actually, it's 2010.
Okay, I bought the one I had is 2021. It looked like.
Well, they're probably using the same.
Yeah, I put it in the private chat. You can see
and the original actually that I have is cut by Bob Ludwig.
Okay.
So I never really compared it because it's how many times do I have to listen to that record? Right?
Yeah.
But you will buy it again if they do it on 45.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm just tricking you.
I did Europe, Scandinavia, Japan, Germany, the one step, and that one, this Chris Bellman. So that was a shootout.
I'll have to look at your channel then.
Yeah, I think it's probably under the live ones because I think I did it live with Brad. Yeah. Cool.
Well, one that they should do is Kamakiriad.
Yeah, really.
The only way you could find it is in that box set that now goes for like what, $400? That came out like 4 years ago. Warner Brothers did a box set of all three of Donald Fagen's solo albums.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 3 or 4? It's 3, right? Yeah. Oh, there was a bonus disc. Yeah, and the only one that's never been repressed is Kamakiriad.
Yeah, and I like Stevie Nicks "In Your Dreams" is only in the box set on vinyl, and that's a great album. So,
I'm curious about that Beatles box you got behind you when you get a second, David. What are your
the
thoughts?
blue
on
one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's the UK. The blue box set? I guess they call it.
Right.
BC 13.
Mono and
BC
stereo,
13.
right?
BC 13. Yeah.
What do you think? Have you had a chance to listen to that much?
Oh yeah.
Or?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's very good. I like it better than the MoFi box I have.
Okay, cool.
And I've got a Beatles in mono as well.
The mono box. Yeah, there's
there you
Jason's. Go. Okay, I see those around. So, but I'm glad to get your guys' review of it. I might actually.
They're a hodgepodge of pressings. They put whatever was kind of available on the shelf, more or less. So it's very much a cornucopia of what you're going to get. So just beware. That's the nature of the beast.
You mean like each box will have different pressings in it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably no two boxes are the same. Well,
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that. The guy from the UK, he's like, "Hey, I saw you have this. Do you have the stereo?" I'm like, "The original UK stereo." I'm like, "Yeah, why? Which one do you want to listen to?" He's like, "Rubber Soul, my favorite." So I dug it out. We compared it. Mine is from 1982, and we A-B'd them. And there's a lot of hype on this. I'll be honest with you. The original UK stereo beat this thing. Like, it was not.
I thought you were going to say that your box came all OG because they just knew who it was going to.
No. I mean, we compared it, and I know, of course, this is a great opportunity, great price to get this, affordable.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
But after we compared it, he was like, "So I'm gonna go get those UK OG stereos," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, yes, I agree. Go ahead. It's expensive though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt.
I mean, there was a big difference. Honestly.
You got a better chance of finding them in Japan than you do Britain. I got news for you.
So see you in Japan 2025. Me and David Bianca. Right?
There you go.
Let's do it.
That'd be fun.
I'm up for it.
Sorry, just going through, checking the comments. Yeah, that's the thing too, is that I think a lot of people probably already have some Beatles. Like with me, I have, I don't know, 8 of them, something like that. So it's kind of like, is it that much better that I'm going to buy a whole box just to get the few I don't have? And is it actually going to be an upgrade? So yeah, and I have mostly Japanese pressings.
They're not the 2000s ones? They're before that.
Yeah, they're before. They're like mostly like early. I have some early
That's
70s
good.
stuff. Yeah,
Because some of the early 2000s are DMMs and they're not good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have the why am I blanking on it? Like the red transparent Odeon, the Odeon pressings.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
Well, what else you guys got? You guys have anything that you want to talk about or show off or anything like that while we're all together?
I got nothing to show off.
Show off. Sabbath
I know,
vertigos, just throw it
Jason's
out.
like, I've been showing off this whole time, man. Just look at the back
Man.
wall.
That's his middle name, man.
You got any more Black Sabbath hanging around, Jason?
No, all of them are in storage, I didn't bring any of them, but I have to say it was an amazing experience, 10 years ago to get those records. And then I text my friend I got Masters of Reality. And then we listened to it. I'm like, man, Sweet Leaf. Wow. What a song. Dang,
I mean, this is the one that I have. It's let's see, how can I? And it's Vertigo, Master
nice.
Reality.
Oh, interesting. All in white.
Yeah, it's cool.
What version is that?
I think it's Japanese press.
Oh,
I could be wrong. Yeah, it's a white.
That's awesome.
Anyway, sounds great. I would try to go for all those, but yeah, it's pricey. Oh, sorry. Dog
Let me see if I
walked
can
in.
go find something to just throw down.
Yeah.
I mean, I did get this in the mail today, which is awesome. This is the Fela Kuti and Ginger Baker Africa 70.
Oh, wow, nice.
And it's the original UK. This thing's going for too much money. I hate this. I hate that. I just, I can't, And it's on the Regal Zonophone.
and is that what pressing is that?
UK original
UK pressing.
71.
And Jason, did you read the announcement of is Vinyl Me Please doing a Fela Kuti compilation?
Yeah, they have a box set. I think it's $100 for.
Yeah, what is it exactly? Since you know more about the artist,
I believe it's sort of like a best of with some single. It's mostly singles and B-sides. So if you want the best of, they comped it. So it would be like a good starter pack.
But is it the good period? It's like the seminal period of Fela Kuti, or
Yeah, I would say
it
so.
is okay.
Nothing of his later stuff. Again, mostly the key 70s records. I'm debating whether to get it or not. I kind of want to stop VMP. I don't want to be involved. But then they had this big announcement where on their Discord where they invited. They were like, "Ask me anything," right? And then I asked him a few things, and then he's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Just answer my questions, bro." I want to work with you.
Well, do tell. What did you ask them that you raised suspicion?
Okay, so my friend, right, he owns Nimbus West, right, that free jazz label, okay, and he and I had been talking, that if you own a label, it's always hard to do it on your own, or press records and stuff, so maybe VMP could, maybe we could work a deal with VMP, to get these albums out. And so I asked him, hey, so I work, and consult for Nimbus West, and what do you think? And he looked at my question and goes let's talk seriously. So maybe that could be coming, so you wouldn't have to pay, hundreds, thousands of dollars for a rare, free jazz record. Maybe you could work it with VMP to get it out there. And to me, that's my theory. Get the music back to the people, That's Let's try to get and make sure it's mastered well, you know, like pressed well, you know. If a deal works out, I'll be there at the pressing plant, you know, with a magnifying glass. Just kidding.
Hey, I had guys. I had an interview Tuesday night with a guy named Jerome Sabah, and he has started a label called Analog Tone Factory, and it's going to be all analog tape sourced for everything that's recorded and used, and it's jazz is the starting. His own, recording is going to be one of the first ones.
Oh,
But
really?
he's going to be a label that's going to be analog only, and all of his releases will be physical media first, and then it'll come out later on streaming. And he's going to have reel-to-reel tape as well as vinyl.
Nice.
So check him out, because he's going to be a good resource to be able to bring music that's purest analog with the highest grade tape. And as a musician, his technical knowledge of equipment, tape units, and amplification is unbelievable. And it's really great to see somebody who knows that much, really building something from the ground up.
What's it called again, David?
Analog Tone Factory, ANALG, analog, TONE, factory.com. And they show the equipment they use. They show the whole 9 yards. He's got a pre-order up for a release coming out in August. And I just think supporting these people who are doing this from the ground up is really important to keep things alive.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. So I mention it for his behalf, really. I really want to support people like that.
Can I talk about 2 records that I don't have?
Okay.
They're new records that actually I'm like on the fence, because I like stuff that I don't know. I like to stream it first and see if I really want to buy it. And one thing actually like totally surprised me. I had written her off when she was whipping her hair back and forth. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Willow Smith, but she goes by Willow. Will Smith,
okay, yeah.
daughter.
I don't know.
Listen to her new album. It is kind of like jazz. I don't know. She's got a beautiful voice, and it just blew me out of the water. I was not expecting it whatsoever. I think there'll be a lot of talk about it. I think it came out like maybe last month or 2 months ago. Any of you listen to it?
No.
I haven't heard
Okay,
it.
well, give it a spin. It's impressive. And I think this is like her 6th record. You guys remember when she came out? I think she was 10 with that song, I Whip My Hair Back and Forth.
No.
You know Rebecca?
Dude, I have no
I
idea.
blocked it.
I think she was
I
10.
remember
Not ringing a bell.
Whip It Good. Is Whip It Good? Was that? No.
Yeah, even Wyoming Dave knows her. I Whip My Hair Back and Forth. So, but she's come a long way since then. It's like I was really, really, really like, Sometimes you can't judge the record by the album cover, or what I mean, by what you thought an artist does, because that was 10 years or 15 years ago. And the other one that I streamed today, beautiful record. I hope I'm not butchering her name. Arouge Aftab. She is, I don't know, Middle Eastern somewhere. I don't know exactly where she's from. And it came out on Verve. Also, harp, jazz, beautiful voice, very, very quiet, like evening music. Here's what I remember. Here's what struck me. She sounded like a modern day Sade in terms of voice, in terms of delivery. I don't know what she's singing, because there are some songs that are in English and some that are not. And I was just moved by the way she was singing. I had no idea what she's singing about. And mind you, I was listening to it at work. So if a record was able to capture my attention while I'm working, It definitely. I'm probably going to listen to it. She's from Pakistan. Thank you, but lives in
Can
Brooklyn.
anybody put up her spelling? Because the name doesn't.
It's Arooj, Arooj, Aftab, Aftab,
Okay.
and I think it came out last Friday.
It's a new album, or is it a
It's a
reissue?
new album. Yeah, it came out
Yeah.
Friday. Yeah.
Called
Thank
Night
you.
Rain.
Thank you, Music in the House. Yes, that
Is
one.
that it?
Very cool.
Very good
Can't
album.
believe I'm gonna listen to a Willow Smith album.
No, Jason, you let me know what you think about Willow Smith.
All right, I'm adding it. Yikes.
Anyone else know about this new Discogs
No.
wantlist beta
Wantlist or
deal?
beta thing? No,
I haven't heard
Oh.
that. I haven't.
I don't know what that is. Speaking of Discogs, how long do they
Yes.
take to get back to you when you ask a technical question?
At least a week.
Yeah.
I sold a record on Discogs that I was supposed to ship to South Korea. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with how Discogs estimates the shipping charges. They were totally wrong. It was basically costing me probably $10 more to ship the record than what the buyer had paid me. And I wasn't going to take a loss on it. So I asked the person, the buyer, if you want it, I'm sorry, Discog incorrectly estimated the shipping charges, and it's going to be an additional, I think it was like either $8 or $10. But I'll definitely, if you're no longer interested and you don't want to pay the extra, I will cancel the order. And he said, yeah, please cancel the order. And I went to refund it. And I kept getting an error. I did it several times today. I keep getting an error that I can't cancel the order and I can't refund it. And I sent a message to Discogs, and I'm waiting to hear back because I'm sure this person wants their money back, and I have no other way to give it back to them.
Yeah, it seems like they have a long queue. I mean, anytime I ever, and it hasn't been a lot, but the few times I've messaged them, I don't usually hear back for like a week or so.
Oh, really?
Do they have like a priority? I don't know if they do. I don't remember if they had like a priority tab or something, drop down or whatever.
Of course, everybody uses it, and it's FIFO at that point.
Yeah.
No, in the past, I have given either partial refunds because the record arrived damaged or something, and I had no problem. Do following the pull down menu and clicking cancel order, refund order. But this time, I don't know what's wrong. Either something on their interface, their website's down, or maybe because it's a foreign transaction, like it's going to a different country. I don't know.
That's what I was guessing.
Yeah, probably.
Let me ask you this, Arnaldo, since you are, and I'm not sure who else has sold on Discogs, but I was going to bring up the whole Facebook Marketplace thing, because I know there's a lot of people that want to sell there. They don't want to deal with fees and all of that stuff. From the standpoint of a seller or a buyer, how many of you have used Facebook Marketplace for records? And what was your experience?
I've never used it for records.
I bought a small collection through it, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You met the person.
Did you? Yeah. Did you pick it up, or did they send it to you?
Oh, I picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you got to be very careful, to be honest.
I've actually, there are some Facebook groups. I think one is called Vinyl Records for Sale. And I have just posted pictures with like sticky notes on the prices.
Yes.
I did that like 3 or 4 years ago. And I think I sold a few that way. And I don't remember why I went that route. I think it was just easier and I wanted to try it out. But yeah, it's other than that, I haven't really utilized Facebook Marketplace to sell or buy anything.
Yeah, I've sold in groups and done auctions on groups like that.
Seems like groups would be safer. Yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot more. I think it used to happen a lot during the pandemic, where some retailers that couldn't open to the public were doing live auctions on Facebook.
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't see them as much now.
You're right. You're exactly right. And then there's Mike at the in group. Okay. Anyway.
No, that's whatnot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dylan.
Well, yeah. I sell through Whatnot. I haven't done any auctions yet, but I have some in my collection and through Whatnot.
Now, in terms of fees and commissions, is it any better than Discogs?
Well, to me, you need to look. You can laser focus on an 8 or 9 or 10% figure, and that's a fool's errand. You need to look at the transaction process and the way they do it, and they bundle everybody's. If they buy multiple things, you know, they give you exactly which ones are theirs, and they make the label. I mean, they do everything for you. So they're very holistic in their process and very accurate and lean. So to me, they're one of the better does it all kind of platforms.
And that's kind of the point I was getting to also with the difference in people trying to save fees by selling on the marketplace. I sell on Whatnot every Saturday. I run live auctions for like 3 or 4 hours. And to your point, David, yes, that was a big selling point for me, was the fact that you don't even have to mess with shipping. You just print your label and go.
Yeah.
And yeah, they bundle it all together. And then it's just such a streamlined system that they have.
Yeah. And some people will say, well, they're 9% and Discogs, whatever, you know, I mean, and it's just like when you look at the whole thing from a hassle standpoint, I think Whatnot is very advanced in that arena.
Yep.
Yeah. So I agree with you.
I think it's, Arnaldo, to answer your questions, by the time you piece it all, they charge you a percentage of the sale plus a flat rate. I've found that it comes to like 11% on Whatnot, which I think is less than others that are similar, maybe by a percent or two.
Well, I think Discogs is 9 now.
Or are they 9?
And then there's also the PayPal fee, right?
Oh,
Yes.
right.
So a lot of times we forget that there's also a PayPal.
Oh, yeah.
fee, so,
Yep.
So Jason, what's your username on Whatnot? I want to follow you.
Oh, Spins Vinyl. Might be Spins _vinyl.
SPINZ_vinyl.
Yeah, let me just double check.
SPINZ. Yep.
_vinyl. Yep.
Okay, I'm following you. Yeah, mine's Vinyl Forever with the number 4.
Okay, cool. I'll follow you as well.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know before I started doing that, I did ask some people, trusted people, just kind of like, what is it about Whatnot that you like or don't like? And a lot of people, the feedback I got was, well, you know, it preys on people's FOMO and this and that and everything. And it's like, you know, being aware of that going into it, like I get it. Like I get that it is timed auctions in real time and all of that stuff. And I know there's certain sellers or whatever where people would overpay for records fairly consistently. I think the way that I try to do it though is really fair, and I keep that in mind, and I try to give people plenty of time to make their choices, especially on pricey records. And then a lot of people don't like to talk about like, well, this record's on Discogs for X number of dollars now. And that's something I try to be as transparent as possible, you know, so that people don't feel like they're being, you know, duped or whatever. But I think it's a great platform, and I think in a way it's like there's a great community out there that uses it. And you know, look, if you're being taken advantage of or feeling like you were getting robbed, you wouldn't be coming back week after week. You know, there's a way to create a good experience for people if you're smart about it. You know, and if you're honest. So anyway, that's what I've tried to do, and we've gotten really good feedback so far. But I get it. I think a lot of people maybe go in there once and try it, and then they develop their opinion, and then that's it. You know, and I get that. So.
Well, one thing I could see is the fact that, yes, if you build a relationship with someone on Whatnot and you're a satisfied customer, you may return, right? But also, you actually show the record, right?
Yeah.
So unlike Discogs with the back and forth of the emails, can you send it could take forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the instant, I don't want to call it instant gratification. You're showing it right then and there. Granted, you probably may not be able to zoom in and show them the vinyl, but you have the record to show. And sometimes people will say, okay, I'll pay an extra $5 because I know what I'm getting, and I know Jason, and I know I could jump on
Right.
his whatnot and trash him because he sent me a
Yeah.
crumpled record. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you build that relationship, and you're out there versus, the Discogs, where apart from the fact that the grading, right? But that, I guess, that comes into play also when you're saying it's a VG plus or it's a mint or whatever. But you have that interaction where you're showing it directly, like right there live, and that within a day or two you're going to ship it out, right? Versus the back and forth, and probably who knows how long before you pull the trigger with something on Discogs, especially if it's a pricey item, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
see why some people may want to say pay that kind of premium on whatnot because of those factors.
But on Discogs, one of the issues in my mind is, so I'm looking at a specific pressing, and then I look who has it for sale. Well, I want to make sure it is that pressing. So when I contact them, often it's like, no, it's not that one. I just happen to throw my sale thing under that particular one.
Yeah.
Which is really, I'm not going to say misleading, but it's sure your expectation is set because they're so delineated. On whatnot, you're not being that down to the, actual dead wax and saying this is this plant and this whatever. I mean, it's not that kind of a relationship generally. Now, I know Mike may do that occasionally, or High Dollar Record, but generally it's not. Whereas on Discogs, you'll get it and go, that's not what I ordered. I know a guy that tried to get the 2012 release of Let It Be instead of the Giles Martin remix. And he ordered the 2012 from Discogs, and he got 3 different ones. They all sent him the Giles Martin remix. And that wasn't the pressing that he ordered from.
Yeah,
But
I've
you
had that
wanted
happen
the
too.
Giles Martin remix, right? Just kidding.
Yeah, thanks.
Jason's like, well, that was his first problem.
Thanks for stating the obvious, right? Yeah, okay.
Which, I like that. I like the Let It Be
Yep.
remix. I
Okay.
think it was well done.
Yeah, my thing is, it wasn't what he was trying to collect all the 2012 ones with the black sticker.
Oh, right. Yeah. Got it.
So I mean, we're not talking audio sound.
Yeah.
We're just, he wanted that series. Yeah.
Right.
Are they that difficult to find now?
Pardon me?
Are they that difficult to find?
Yeah, what happened is when Capitol jumped its prices from $23.99 or $24.99 to $35.99, people were grabbing the old ones that were in stock.
Oh.
And so there was a rush on existing inventory. And they just kind of disappeared before and then they didn't press any more of that vintage or that particular pressing. So that it got swept into the price change there.
Yeah, I'm crazy. I also have the 2009 box set, stereo box set.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes, I have that too.
For Let It Be?
No, you're talking about the apart from that. The,
Yeah.
stereo box set that came out.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, I know
2009.
one. Yep, I got it too. Yep. Yeah, the Rainbow one. Is that the one pressed by Rainbow?
Oh, I returned that. That
Okay.
was terrible. I returned that and I bought the optimal pressing.
Okay.
Yeah, which I got through Amazon Canada.
Really?
Okay.
When
Yes.
did you do this? Recently or what?
No, I got at the time. I
Oh,
listened to each one of them and I returned my box set to the retailer, and he looked at me with like, "Why are you returning this?" Because it sounds like crap. What do you mean? It's like, go ahead and play it. I don't want this. I want my money back. And yeah, he had to take it back. And then I did some digging around, and people were posting on forums that if you bought it from Amazon Canada, you probably will get the optimal pressing. And it came when it arrived, and the box says made in Germany. I was like, whoo, yes.
Well, you were able to order Sabbath High Fidelity through Warner Canada 3 days after it sold out in the U.S.
Who, me?
No, anybody could.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah. That's a backdoor.
But the thing about that the Beatles one was you're ordering it on Amazon and they don't tell you where it was pressed. They
Oh,
don't
hell
have
no.
they don't have the barcode. They don't have anything.
They
So it was a gamble. And when it arrived, I was really happy.
yeah.
And funny enough, that box set was the death of Rainbow. That put them out of
Really?
business. That put them out of business because it ruined their reputation. How do you screw up the Beatles box set?
That's the last thing you want to screw up, right?
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
You just wait. Beatles DSD coming soon, 2025.
45 RPM?
That's right.
Yes.
That'll never happen.
DSD 256. Better yet, DSD 512.
That's right. That's right.
Go
You've
for the
never heard the
gusto.
Beatles.
You know,
in
it-
DSD.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder. Okay, so they have a few more records that they have to do the Giles Martin treatment, like the remix version. Like what do you call it? The not the what's the process called where they extrapolate the instruments and
Oh, the Peter Jackson effect.
yes, I forgot what it's called. So after they're done with that, I think they have a few more albums, right, to do.
Yeah.
I wonder what because every year we get something Beatles, right? It's almost like Star Wars. There's always going to be there's always going to be something. So yeah, you wonder what is going to be next after they've remixed all the albums.
The one I'm waiting for is Abbey Road, just because it's so seminal. I can't imagine what they could do.
I don't think they're going to redo that one because
I hope not. Actually,
they did that on because that was already 8-track. So I think they've done the best they could do on that. And I don't know why they would do it again because they just did it like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
new technology, more
yeah,
money,
it's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
more money, more money, more money.
It's making me think of, I don't know why, but it's been a few minutes, but I want to get this out. But Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. I was watching a thing with Michael Fremer where he says the best version of that is this double LP, Carl and the Passions. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. So I bought one on Discogs. But apparently there's probably different pressings of even that record, right?
You have
But
to
I
get the one with the brother label.
Yeah, whatever one I got, I don't remember. I couldn't even tell you, but I got one and I played it and I got like 30 seconds in and I was like, nope. Yeah, that one right. I don't know if it was that press, but I was like, nope. And so I think when you said you were talking to Arnaldo about something just not sounding good and getting a refund on it, and I bought it off Discogs. It was used, obviously. And I was like, yeah, this just isn't going to work for me. Like I spent $50 on it. I was expecting it to be the best version of Pet Sounds. Guy was very cool about it. He took it back and everything. But now I have a pressing I'm really happy with. It's a recent reissue. I'm not sure, like a 2010 or something. Sounds great. I'm not going to mess around anymore because I've tried like 4 to 5 different pressings of that. I just was never happy. And if I only got one I'm okay with.
Well, the important question is, do you like it mono or stereo?
I got stereo. I thought stereo was actually the preferred on that album.
Well, Brian Wilson is deaf in one ear. He's been deaf since the 60s.
Yeah.
That's why all his records were even Pet Sounds were in mono because that was also that was a preferred format at the time. But if we're looking at the artist vision, that record should be listened to in mono. I love the stereo.
Either that or just close one ear.
No, don't get me wrong. I love the stereo version.
Well, if he can only hear in one ear, is his vision like this? Is that the vision you're talking about?
Why didn't you like the Carl and the Passions? I'm just curious. What
It was flat and just had no separation. I mean,
Really?
like I said, I don't know which pressing it was. This was a few years ago. I wasn't as hip to all that stuff, but yeah, it was very flat and just had no dynamics and everything. It just sounded like I was listening to. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, and it looked minty fresh. Like, you know, of course there may have been some groove damage or something, but it didn't seem like it. It was just clean. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
The thing is, the guy from the UK, he asked, like, can we compare pet sounds? And I go, yeah. Which one do you have? And he go, do you have an original? I go, yes. And then he asked, do you have that Carl and the Passions? I go, yes. And we listened to it, like the first side. And it was clear that the Artisan, per Fremer, beat the original US from
Wow.
66, like hands down, you know? And he was shocked and he's like, shit, I better order this now. Like he was on his phone, like, like, holy crap, And we didn't get through the AP copies. He just wanted to hear these.
Have you heard other versions of that of Carl and the Passions to see? Is it just that particular pressing that's supposed to sound really good, or?
I haven't heard other pressings of it,
Yeah.
I mean, but I have, I never did the comparison like that with this
Yeah.
setup. But I mean, right now, like what, it's like $50, $60, maybe 40,
Yeah.
it's like affordable, I mean, I have to say that's where like Fremer was right in my opinion, like
Yeah.
you really hit the mark on that,
I usually trust Fremer. That's why I went out and got it. But I need to find out exactly which one you have so that I can maybe go snag one. But yeah, the one I had, I'm
Let's
telling
not
you,
make
it was.
upset. Let's not get unhappy here, but it's,
I thought you were gonna start. I thought you were gonna spin it right now. Hold on, let me
white
get
label
you-
promo,
Oh, you have a white label promo.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go.
The only time that Beach Boys Pet Sounds is on white label promo. There you go.
Wow. That's one that I would go in for, man. I would whatever I gotta pay to get a great Pet Sounds. That's just such a great album.
So yeah, if you like it, maybe try to go for this one. I know it's expensive now.
Okay. I screenshot it. Cool.
Hey guys, I have to head out.
All right, Arnaldo, thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate it.
Good to
Yeah,
see
it
you.
was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, guys.
Seeing you as always, man.
Play nice, and I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Have a
We'll see
good
you on the
night.
A side.
Yeah,
Bye.
take it easy. See ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I was disappointed when I got that Carl. I mean, it was bad, Jason. I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. It was just. So yeah, there must be different pressings of it or something.
But I have to agree with Arnaldo. Like it's a mono. Like it's not gonna,
Well, I mean, yeah, it wasn't that. It was very significant. You could tell. It was
Okay.
like, wow. Yeah, I was like, is something wrong with my system? Like it was so bad. Although I've gotten records like that in the past. I don't know. Have you guys ever had that experience where you just get a record, even if it's a great pressing, and it just sounds like crap for some reason? I don't know. Inexplicably.
I'm obsessed with that record. So there was a point where I got like a California pressing of, Pet Sounds. And I think I either got like an East Coast or like a Scranton or what's the Jacksonville like pressing of it. And I don't know, out of curiosity, like I was like, well, let me compare them. And I can't remember, like one of them was better than the other. And that was messed up, and I wasn't, this wasn't like I guess it was like a Tom Port thing, like a hot stamper. And I was like, what the hell's
Yeah.
going on here? I couldn't explain it at the time,
But when you say it was a good pressing and it sounded like crap, somehow I'm trying to figure out what you mean. What about it made it a good pressing?
It sounded like hotter, like honestly. Like one of them just sounded like bigger, fuller, like and it was the one that was more VG, while the other one that was like a near mint Pet Sounds, like it didn't sound good,
Yeah.
And when I looked it up, like one of them was made in Scranton, the other one was made either in California, so I don't know. Like I couldn't explain it at the time, I didn't have Tom Port's number. Tom, I got these Pet Sounds. Help me,
Whatever you did on this one, do it for all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was interesting, So I mean, there could be, variations, of course, Bad day at the pressing plant,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it had RVG, I decided that, I'm just gonna let that pressing ride while I got a ham sandwich,
Oh man.
Mm.
Good stuff. Well, we're at the hour mark for their second hour. We're
We
just
are.
passing through. I've got to get up early, so I'm gonna head on the Arnaldo train here as well.
Yeah, sounds good. We can wrap it up. Yeah, we got through. We stuck to the book today, man. We got the 1 hour in. We got the second hour in. We are good to go. I appreciate you guys hanging out,
Same
man,
here.
and hopefully you guys we can do it again in a couple of weeks.
See you on the A side.
We'll do it on the A side, or I'll catch you guys on the A side, and I'll be back in
since-
2 weeks for the B side.
Since Rojas is a flipper now, we can do A side, B side. Just flipping those.
Oh man.
Maybe we'll do like the third side, 45 RPM
Ooh,
side.
there you go.
There you
Good
go.
one.
There you go.
Ooh. Hey, but we're gonna have to
10-second
talk
show and
about
we're done.
25%.
10-minute show.
We gotta talk faster.
We'll be in high fidelity then. Finally.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Gabe.
All right,
for
you guys.
being here. Thanks, VC community.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll take
Absolutely.
care. See ya.
I'll see you guys.
Have a good one.
See ya. Bye-bye, guys.